Hey guys, Dan here. Thanks for watching this video. Today we're going to have a look at another hydraulic pedal set, the BJ Steel Hydraulic GT. Yeah, I know, BJ. Get all your jokes into the comments right now so we get that out of the way. And it helps with the algorithm, so win-win, right? BJ Sim Racing is a small manufacturer from Spain that makes pedals, shifters, and also handbrakes for sim racing. The products do come at a very fair price, and we're gonna have a look at other products from BJ Sim Racing as well, but today we're gonna start with the hydraulic pedal set. This one costs 910 euros for the 3-pedal set, and I think you can get the 2-pedal set for, I have to look that up, 830 euros. The pedals don't come in a fancy box or something, it's just like a brown box that houses the pedals, but it does the job to protect them during shipping. I want to start with something I did not like 100% about it, and that is build quality. Like, everywhere you get like, this is like made from 3mm stainless steel, laser cut. And there are sharp edges like on some parts of the pedals. Like, for example, these are the stock pedal plates here. They look nice, but you can probably see it here in this video. There are some sharper edges around the corners. It doesn't feel super premium because of that. It could use some smoothening. Especially if you use socks, for example. It's like in general, when you handle the pedals, when you make your adjustments, there's some sharp edges here or there. It's not a deal breaker, it's nothing that impacts the performance, but yeah, I wanted to point it out. Another thing that I did not like is like out of the box, the throttle pedal started to squeak pretty badly after like 2 days of using. You can easily just put a little PTFE lubricant on it and then it's gone, but this is stuff that I would love to see out of the factory, to be honest, and not that you spend the money on the pedals and the first thing you need to do is like put PTFE dry lube on it. But yeah, Baseplate is a thick piece of metal. It's super heavy. I don't know what it's made, if it's steel or something, but no flex, no nothing here. The only thing I wish was if it was maybe like 1 or 2 centimeters wider, so you can put a little bit more spacing between the pedals. But that's basically the only thing that I don't like. Also, keep in mind, oh wait, there's the hydraulic stuff in the way. The bottom sides, it comes with these screws. I don't really know how they are called, but you put it on from the back and then the nut goes onto the top. And because of that, the base plate is not perfectly flush. I mean, like it's the case with most base plates, but keep in mind that you will need to either mount it with a spacer or just like ignore the fact that it will protrude a little bit, and then put it directly onto the rig like this. That's what I did. Not the most elegant way of mounting it, but it certainly works. One thing that I found a little bit weird is like there are basically only 2 mounting holes for mounting them to the rig, I think. I don't know what these square holes are for. But I just used 2 screws to mount it to the rig. It's sturdy enough, but most manufacturers give you like 4 or 6 mounting points. The more elegant way is probably to not use a base plate and just directly mount these to your 80/20 profile if you have the possibility to do that. But yeah, the base plate isn't bad or anything. It's sturdy. It's just a little bit unconventional in the mounting options, but that's about it. The electronics are in a little 3D printed housing. They are done by Leo Bodnar. I think the newer version of the pedals actually have one of their custom PCBs. I don't have that here, so I can only tell you about this one. But no issues with that. The newer version also comes with a grounding wire, I think, if you have some grounding issues. I've had that especially with my Fanatec DD2, where sometimes some gear needed to be grounded in order to not get like weird effects where stuff suddenly stopped working. But on this version that I have, there's no ground wire. I don't need a ground wire. I mean, if you need one, you can always just add one to the screws here and then connect that to your rig. But yeah, if you buy one now, you should get the version with the grounding wire with their custom electronics. With the new custom electronics, there also came a new software that we will talk about later, but there's also like a firmware update now for the older version, for the Bodnar board, that speaks to their software, so you're not missing out. All in all, I gotta say, even though it gives me a few DIY vibes here or there because of the sharp edges and the 3D printed parts, I have to say it's a well-made product, especially considering what you pay for this pedal set and that it's a very small company. Also, speaking of fairly priced, if you want to save some more, you can get these from Dennis from SimRace Shop. 3-pedal set for $8.99. In general, if you're, especially in Europe, if you're looking for anything sim racing, SimRace Shop, check out their website. There's so much stuff on there. You can get pedals, wheels, wheelbases, shifters, like gloves, basically anything for sim racing. And the owner of the shop also is super helpful, super nice guy, Dennis. He also provided the pedals for this review here. But let's talk about the specs and let's see if he gets the pedals back or not. So the 3 pedal set here, throttle, clutch, uses a Hall sensor to determine pedal position, and the brake uses a hydraulic cylinder by Willwood with a pressure sensor to determine the pressure on the brake pedal. Looking at the throttle and the clutch, you can probably tell which pedal was the inspiration for this. I think it looks kind of very close to the Heusinkveld design with this little thing here in the end and this to get like the non-linear clutch output and everything. And with that, there's also like the little problems you get with the Heusinkveld design with the little lateral play of the pedal arms. I don't know if you can see this here. It's not the end of the world, but are you even a sim racer if you don't look for that, right? You don't really notice it while driving, let's be completely honest here. I don't even know why I pointed out because it's like, it's negligible, but it's there. But yeah, let's have a look at the throttle pedal first. What you can adjust is like the stiffness of the pedal. One with a little nut here to adjust the preload on the spring. So the more preload you add, the stiffer the pedal will feel. And the other possibility to adjust it is like this bolt here can be adjusted in 4 positions. The higher it is, the stiffer the pedal feels. I have mine in a position with relatively high preload and in the highest position to get the most stiffness out of the pedal. I like the throttle pedal to feel relatively firm. There's some adjustability there. I wish it could be a little bit stiffer even than this in the highest setting, but it's fine, it works well. Then in the bottom here you have this little garden hose to dampen the end stop. And also you can move this bolt in 4 or 3 positions, 3 or 4, I don't know, to set the available travel on the throttle pedal. Make sure to recalibrate after you've done that because obviously less travel means less range and you don't want to be stuck at like 80% throttle or something. As for the angle for the pedal, there are again a few positions here where you can adjust the front and the rear. I think 20 millimeters of adjustment range. So you can angle them like this or like this. I have mine in a pretty horizontal position because I adjust the angle just with the pedal plate on my rig. But you can do it here if you want to. Then again, Hall sensor. There's a little magnet here on the pedal arm. I don't know if you can see that on the video. It's probably hard to see. Maybe I have to record some B-roll for that. There's a little magnet here that moves with the pedal arm. And then on the bottom, there's a Hall sensor that is static. And the Hall sensor basically senses the change in magnetic field. The closer the magnet comes, the bigger the signal will be, or the output. And the output of the Hall sensor is proportional to the position of this pedal arm here. Clutch, kind of similar. You don't get the 4 positions for the stiffness adjustability. You only get the preload and then the angle adjustment plus the end stop here. That's pretty much it. The point where it hits this little non-linearity is, I wish it was a little bit more pronounced. There's definitely more noticeable on other manufacturers like Heusinkveld or VRS, for example. But still, it's fine. I'm not a big expert when it comes to clutch. My heel and toe game definitely would need some improvement because I guess that would come in clutch. Let's talk about the most important pedal here, the brake. Like I said before, the brake uses a Willwood master and slave cylinder and an elastomer stack that contains a spring, the Nitroflex elastomer, and this white thing. I don't even know if this is an elastomer or not because it's super, super, super hard. I can't even like push it in with my fingernail. I don't know if this is just like a plastic spacer or if it's really meant to be an elastomer. I have to say I'm not the most knowledgeable person when it comes to hydraulic brakes, but I think it works like this. So when you push the pedal, you see in the back there's a little rod that comes towards me, that compresses the spring. I can't push the pedal more than this because I'm too weak to do this with my hands. But I think what's happening here is like with the pedal arm, you put a little piston in here to the rear that then pushes the hydraulic fluid through this T-adapter into this tube, into the slave cylinder. And then in the slave cylinder, there's a little piston that gets pushed towards me. And also this rod is attached to this little piston and then compresses this elastomer stack. And when you push here, the resistance from the elastomer stack also increases the pressure in the hydraulic system. And then on this side, we have a 1000 PSI pressure sensor. There's a T-adapter that then measures the pressure in the hydraulic system, which then corresponds to the pressure you put on the brake pedal. Super easy. Let's talk a little bit about the elastomers here. So a spring, well, it's a spring. You can basically make the spring useless here by adding preload with this black little nut here in the back. I like a tiny bit of spring. Personal preference. There's not a lot of adjustability with the brake. You can basically adjust the preload. That's it. The brake does not come with any other elastomers that you can try or something, even though most elastomers will work with this. So I tried the one from the Venom pedals, I think, works well. But this Nitroflex elastomer actually works very well. There are these little lamellars, I think this is how you call them. And once you start compressing it, the lamellars will come closer together, and when they meet, the brake will get progressively stiffer, if that makes any sense. So it feels very nice, I like it. But a problem with this thing is it kind of likes to break rather easily. This is how mine looked like. After like 4 weeks of using it, it completely, well, is gone. There's a little hole in here, like the white part basically was in here. Fun fact, it's still like the pedal worked perfectly fine, but I think they need to improve on the durability of this. I have an idea how you can improve it. I need to talk to Dennis. Let's see if we can maybe get something going there. Yeah, that was a bit disappointing. It lasted like 4 weeks or so. It should be better than this. I think even if you just put a little metal spacer, like here in the front, in between the white part and the yellow part, that probably will help already, because then the white part cannot get embedded into the yellow one. Keep that in mind. You can use any other elastomer with this. It will probably not have the same issue as this one, but it probably also will not feel as good. So yeah, just something to consider here. Luckily, like getting the replacement was no problem. I just like, I said, hey, look at this, and I had a new one in the mail. But yeah, if you get these, maybe get a replacement elastomer or get some other elastomers to play around a little bit with the stiffness of the pedal. I think it's fine at this price point to not include any customization options apart from the preload, because that would just increase the price. If you want to play around with it, you can just buy that afterwards. But it's just something to consider, since many pedals actually come with a few customization options, but these don't. Last thing I want to talk about is the pedal plates. These here are actually not the standard pedal plates. The ones it comes with look like this. Stainless steel, slightly sharp edges, but okay. The pedal plates are a little bit small compared to these aftermarkets that I installed. And especially when you're driving with socks, it doesn't feel super comfortable, because the pedal plates are just like, it's too sharp around the edges, and it's also too small. The typical foot is definitely bigger than this. Yeah, it works, but there are better options. Like, for example, these super nice carbon fiber pedal plates from Simrace Shop, made out of 5mm carbon fiber. They look awesome. I think like the pedals, like when you add carbon fiber, you're immediately quicker. No, but they honestly, they feel really good while driving with shoes. There's enough grip. And also when you're not using shoes, like the big pedal plate, like, I mean, compare this here. It's like, yeah, much bigger. Throttle is comparable, but the throttle is big enough. It's a little bit wider on the version from Simrace Shop. I haven't had issues with this one, but the brake to use without shoes, not that good. These things here, wait, let me check the price, are 90 euros for the 2-pedal set and 120 euros for the 3-pedal set. Comes with these nice black screws. Also comes with a little piece of grip tape that you can put on the brake in case it is a bit too slippery for you. It definitely is more slippery than these here, just because of the sharp edges. They add grip, and these are very smooth. Carbon fiber is a little bit more slippery than the stainless steel, I would say. But with shoes, like I said, zero issues with grip, and yeah, they feel good, they look cool. Have a look at them. Another cool thing is, like, even when you use shoes with the standard pedal plates, they shred they shred your shoe, like the sole of your shoe. And with these, I had like little pieces of rubber all over the pedals all the time, because like the shoe was then on the pedals, you know. With these, it's still slightly the case, but much less. So yeah, I like them. All right, let's have a quick look at the software next. I'm gonna freestyle this here. So software has all the features that you need. They just have a little strange way to call some things. For example, start and end corresponds to the physical reading of the sensor. And it's basically the calibration and the dead zone in one. So for example, if I go to 14%, that means the Hall sensor probably starts at around 16% or something. As you can see, at 15%, I get like 1% of input. At 16, I get 0. So this is, like I said earlier, it's the calibration and the dead zone in one value. It's not really a big problem. It's just a little bit unconventional. You can, of course, just do the calibration here. Minimum, it will set it to 15. You see, I used this and it sets it to 15 and then gives me 1% of output already, which is, well, not how it should be. So if you have something like this, just add 1% onto the start, which means 1% dead zone, and then the actual output is at 0%. And then the same thing goes for 100%. So I go to 100%, click this. This corresponds to 64% of the Hall sensor output. Then you see it's kind of hard to reach that 100%. So what you want to do is add some dead zone, and this time you got to actually click into the other direction, because at 36% of load cell output, you already want to saturate the throttle into the 100% position. So let's say you want some more to be like, sometimes you want to just like rest on the throttle and not push it too hard. Then put it to something like 60% to add some dead zone. And then same thing goes for the brake. You can see here we are noticing some inputs, so I would do the same here, add a little dead zone by playing with these values, or use this. We'll set it to 21. Yeah, I mean, like, this is, well, calibrated using a foot, so I can't really reach a lot of output here. And then another feature, the typical make your curve nonlinear. Also, like, a little bit cumbersome, but it works just fine. Can I actually type in values here? No, I need to click these buttons here 2000 times to get a nonlinear curve. But yeah, I mean, how often do you do that? Basically once, and then you save it and then you're done. But there are definitely softwares out there that are more comfortable to use, but hey, at least they have it. You can also do things like, for example, map 100% throttle. I'll show it to you on the throttle, but you want to do it on the brake, obviously. Some cars on iRacing, for example, you never need more like 80% of brake input, for example. What you can do is just limit your brake output at 80%. So what you want to do is like go into iRacing, do your calibration in game so it knows the 100% value. And then let's say you want to max out at 90%. We'll pretend this is the brake here. So what you want to do is like put this to 90, and then when you go to the maximum value, it will only output 90%. I mean, obviously don't do it on the throttle unless you want to be slow. But I can't properly show it on the brake with the pedals here on the table. But yeah, that's pretty much it from the software. You can save your settings to the pedal. You can also like load your settings from the pedal. You can save them to a file if you want to have like a preset for, I don't know, for the Cup Porsche, another preset for the F1 car or something, and then quickly load them in. Like I said, not the most user-friendly software in the world, but it does everything that you need, and yeah, what else can you say? Okay, let's hit the track and talk a little bit about the pedals and how well I did with them. We are driving the McLaren 570S GT4 around Mosport. Initially I had some problems because the old software or lack of software was a little pain, and you had to do all this calibration that I just showed you in DI view, and you basically feel like you're in 2002 again or something. It's not a big problem, but it was very cumbersome. But let's start with the fact that objectively these are decent pedals, but also nothing really special, to be honest. You don't use these and immediately go like, oh my god, this is the best thing since sliced bread. But on the other hand, you also don't notice anything that is really bad about them, apart from the squeaking that I got at the beginning, but that was an easy fix. But the more I used these pedals, something surprising to me happened. This pedal set actually works out of the box insanely well for my driving and braking style. For me it was super easy to properly trail brake using these. I can't really tell why that is. Maybe the nonlinear Nitroflex elastomer plays a big role here. I also use quite a bit of travel on these pedals. I've always been in the camp of less travel is better, but these pedals kind of forced more travel on me because you don't get any elastomers to change out and try in the box. So you get it and then you deal with it basically. And I have to say, the first days it felt a little bit weird to me, but once I adapted, I actually did really well using those. I don't want to brag or anything, but if you look at my iRating graph, this point here is the bottom part is where I started using the BJ pedals, and since using them, I don't know, I feel like I've gotten quicker actually. It might be coincidence, who knows, but yeah, I feel really confident on the brake, especially using these pedals. We won't talk about the clutch, but throttle was fine. I wish the spring was a bit stronger. I'm already on the highest position with the maximum preload, but most sim racing pedals have less resistance on the throttle than what I would like to have. These pedals actually taught me that in terms of travel, more is more, at least for my style. I did much better with these and also started experimenting with more travel on the VRS pedals, for example, by putting that tie rod to the shortest length, which gives you more travel, and I also felt like I was doing much better there on these pedals. So yeah, sometimes you just gotta try different things, and sometimes when the pedal set forces you to do so, it might be actually a big plus. But yeah, to sum it up and compare it to some of the competition, I think this pedal set is great. There are a few issues like build quality, the sharp edges that I mentioned, and, well, this thing here, not cool. But apart from that, I mean, I think it is the cheapest hydraulic pedal set on the market, at least from the ones that I have tried. I don't know if there's maybe a cheaper one than this. If there is, let me know in the comments down below. I felt very confident using these. If they can solve the issue with the elastomer, like I said, I think I have an idea how to fix it. I have a 3D printed prototype to... I'm not going to go into detail here. I'm going to talk to Dennis first, see if we can do something about that. But I will keep you up to date regarding that. So yeah, if you're fine with these few vibes of DIY and not the best build quality in the world, I can recommend these pedals. Definitely add the carbon fiber pedal plates because, you know, carbon fiber makes you quicker. Imagine if these even had RGB lights. Instant 10K iRating incoming. I think the only thing that comes close in terms of price is the Azatec Invicta. Again, Invicta, excellent pedals. They are 1,100 euros for the 3 pedal set. They have a slightly different philosophy behind it. They, for example, the travel, if you want a lot of travel, the maximum travel you can get on the Azatec is 2 centimeters, but they use this fancy 2-stage braking system, which actually works very well, and I wish more pedals had that. But overall adjustability on the Azatec is a little less than these, I would say. Especially the spacing between the pedals. Again, for me, it was not a big deal, but if you want to have something like this, maybe have a look at these. They are also cheaper. Overall, I thought the Invicta were a little bit nicer, especially build quality. But 900 euro hydraulic pedals, in my opinion, hard to beat. Let's widen the competition a little bit and also look at load cell pedals. I don't think that a hydraulic pedal necessarily has to be better than a load cell pedal. In the end, we push with a force onto the brake pedal, and that should be like transformed into a brake signal. And how this is being done, who cares? If it's being done by a pressure sensor in a hydraulic brake or by a load cell. In my opinion, from my experience, they are excellent load cell pedals. They are excellent hydraulic pedals. I wouldn't say every hydraulic pedal is better than every load cell pedal. It's just a different approach to achieve similar things. But if we have a look at, like, for example, the VRS or the Venom pedals at 750 euros, they also offer great pedals, great performance. They feel a bit better in terms of build quality. The software feels more mature. You can get similar feel to the BJ pedals, in my opinion. But sometimes, you know, if you want a hydraulic pedal, because hydraulic is what's being used in real race cars, then these are nice. It's probably my favorite looking set of pedals. I know I change my mind all the time because I test so much stuff, but this industrial kind of look with the big contrast between the stainless steel and the carbon fiber, I think it looks cool. Not that it should have an impact on your choice what to buy in terms of pedals, but, you know, look also is kind of like, if you think they don't look cool, then I'm always having a hard time to buy something that I think looks ugly, and I like the look of these. I think there's also a version where this part here is actually anodized in purple instead of silver. Even nicer. So yeah, I think that's it for this review. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments down below. If you liked the video, maybe give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. If you did not like the video, please let me know why, because that helps even more, then I can improve for the next time. And yeah, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye bye.